Deputy Chief of Staff at the Office of the Presidency, welcome as well, and thank you for coming. The PS, Minister of Information, DPS, and all other senior government officials here present today, welcome to the Mansa Kunda. This is another interesting episode, and we are happy to welcome the Honorable Minister Rohey Manja to discuss issues concerning our sector, the achievements, her vision for the sector, but also some of the challenges she is facing. As usual, we will allow the Minister to give 20-minute speech to discuss her achievements and her vision and the projects that she's doing. Then we'll have a 7-minute video that will give us an insight of some of the work they are doing. After that, we'll give each and every member of her team to introduce themselves, tell us their designation, and also the role they play within the sector. Then we'll have the Q&A from the members of the public. As usual, the Ministry of Information prides itself as a ministry that promotes accountability and transparency through proactive disclosure of information. We pride ourselves in ensuring the public receives authentic, reliable, truthful, and timely information. Because His Excellency the President has made emphasis on the fact that he wants no gap between the people and the government officials. That is, the servants and those who they serve, and those who serve them. And this forces us to now engage in proactive disclosure. There should be no gap. The public should know what the government is doing on a daily basis. And the government should know what the public is also up to, what their concerns are, what their aspirations are as well. That is why we engage in such activities like the Mansa Kunda Ministerial Town Hall, where we bring sector ministers on a bi-weekly basis and bring in the public to ask relevant questions. This will ensure that we in government, thereby consolidating our democracy. Like I said, today is an interesting one. But before we go on to watch this 7-minute video, before we get the minister to give our speech, I'd like to thank all the media houses here present, our media partners. I don't want to call out the specific media partners, but all those who are showing this program live today, I think about 6 or 7 are currently showing the program live. Thank you very much to you for the support you are giving to the ministry and to the government. So on that note, Aruna, I'd like to welcome everyone. Badingol mbal tentula mbal jela, nga fanyame B mbal jala na Mansa Kunda Ministerial Town Hall B. Mansa Kunda dong Minister of Information la ya damuta. Kaje ko filote tar la Mansa Kunda ni banko dingol tima. Banko dingol ko kuto somanda fo tilo bo ila wasio ila miro ila fengo femi alon ko bato Mansa Kunda sa kalamuta bari Mansa Kunda fanang ebe mu ko kuta banko dingol fanang sa kalamuta. Ko nga fanya Ministry of Information dol kamen ko lon kaje ko banko dingol kibaro so e nyanda ka so nyameng wato minna ani nyanda ka so nyameng oto mbal tentula mbal jela bi me mobe konton na milbe jang e ben jube kan so kono Gambia jang ani mantal banko kan mbal tentula mbal jela nga minister dol so jambi ben feño jambi Minister of Public Service abijang Hon.Rohey Babukar Boy me tentula mbe jela Mansa Kunda programme oto Minister of Interior fanam bijambi Honorable Abdoulaye Sanyang afanam ba jala na PS Minister of Information DPS Deputy Chief of Staff ani Mansa Kunda dokulal mi alon ko bijambi ani banko dingol mi alon ko nada ka mabe ni Mansa Kunda to bi bidu ngalun tambale soto e ka fa Rohey Manjang minister mi alon ate marering al halo la bundala aning al halo la falingo woto ministerial mi alon ka kumada bake bidu asa fonye atala sector ay mundo ku sifal la je manala miroti andong abe banko dingol na fa ka nyameng woto bi anala dokula nyol bi jang mi alon ko le badala sector ni parta e fanambe fam fala nyele itollo e mundo ku sifal la je woto mbal tentula mbal jala minister do fana nata e kafa Minister of Tourism Honorable Job afana nata aben feño jambi woto mbal tentula mbal jala Mansa Kunda to mbokka di len dalal si Mansa Kunda bi tay di nuyu ñep ñi nga xamne ñoo fi tew tay di nuyu ñep ñi nga xamne ñu ñoo sétane ñi nekk kër fi bi Gambie ak ñi nekk bitim rew am nañ fi eggan yu mag ministère ñu fi senior government officials ñu fi ak ñi nga xamne ñoy askan wi ñep ñoo nañ pour tew Mansa Kunda bi tay comme nuñ ko di wax rek Minister of Information suñ bébét moo ñu gis ne askan bi di am xibaar num gën a gaawee num gën a baaxee num gën a rafetee moo tax ñuy am programme yi nga xam ne dañoo ñaari semaine bu nekk dañoo isi benn ministre mu ñëw jàkkaarloo askan wi wax leen li nga xam ne loolu la moo liggéey kon di gërëm ñi nga xam ne ñoo ñëw fii tey surtout ministre yi fi teew ministre Honorable Abdoulaye Diop moom fi mi nga xam ne moo amee mbiri tourisme ak Honorable Babukar Boy public service Honorable Abdoulaye Sanyang mi nga xam ne moom moo amee mbiri interior Deputy Chief of Staff Mumfi, PS Minister of Information ak suñ DPS and all other government officials ñi fi nekk tey ak ñi xam ne ñëw nañ pour teewee Mansa Kunda bi ak suñ media partners yi di gërëm ñëpp di leen sant bu baax a baax di leen jaajëfal di wane nag te am nañ gan gu mag nag gan bi nag mooy kan mooy Hon.Rohey Manjang mooy mi nga xam ne moom moo amee mbiri jaww ji nag lu am solo la ak nu moo changé kon tey dinañu wax ñu moom moo tiimam bi ñim àndal lan lañ nekk di liggéey lan jéego lañ nekk di jël pour gis ne jaww ji ak nu moo changé nekkul di sonal askan bi surtout béykat yi kon tey dinañ am waxtaan bu neex a neex suñ paree nag dinañ play benn vidéo ni ñuy seetaan mu won ñu tuuti seen liggéey bu ñoo def su loolu weesoo nag ñu mee ko moom mu wax benn 20 minutes wax ñu jéego yu moo jël si mbiri jaww ji su paree nag ñi àndal ki nekk wax ñu seen tur ak li ñoo liggéey si secteur bi kon di jaajëfal ñëpp di leen gërëm bu baax a baax Haruna su vidéo yi paree mun ngeen koo play jërëjëf.
Heart of the Greater Banjul area, where land meets water, a transformation is taking place, one that will protect lives, restore ecosystems, and build a resilient future. For many years, the Kotu stream was a vibrant waterway flowing from the Jufuru Faroes in Nemakunku to the Atlantic Ocean through Latrikunda Sabiji, Sukuta, Bundung Borehole, Serekunda London Corner, Bakote, Dipakunda, Manjai, Latrikunda Erinjang, Latrikunda Yiringanya, and Kotu. It served as a natural shield against flooding, safeguarding the lives and livelihoods of communities. However, over time, urban expansion, pollution, and climate change have compromised the stream's health, putting over 200,000 people at increasing risk from flooding and pollution. Critical infrastructure, schools, markets, and homes along the stream have become vulnerable to seasonal floods and pollution. The time has come to restore this vital lifeline. Introducing the West Africa Coastal Areas Resilience Investment Project, or WACA, a World Bank-funded project implemented by the Ministry of Environment, Climate Change and Natural Resources.
The WACA project, or we will call it technically West Africa Coastal Resilience 2 project, is funded by the World Bank and the Gambia government, led and implemented by the Ministry of Environment.
The WACA project for the Ministry of Environment, Climate Change and Natural Resources is currently a flagship project. It's our main project at $45 million. As has been said, it's important for the preservation of lives and livelihoods along the Kotu stream. And about 200,000 inhabitants in that catchment area along the 11 kilometers.
People are very eager to see the results now. Inshallah, last year we are happy to say that we have digital success. We have seen that at least flood in areas connecting to the stream have been reduced drastically. That's a very good start and also at least a trusted moment for people to expect much better climate change mitigation actions in the future.
Right now, the stage we are, we have hired a consultant that is doing the feasibility study, to come up with scientific evidence and with proper analysis so that we can move on to pre-design and the detailed engineering design for the stream. And we're also very hopeful that, early next year, we'll start the infrastructure work.
And we've seen different effects along the stream, from severe pollution, dumping of refuse into the stream to parts where the stream has actually dried up and been disconnected.
Prevention of WACA is very key with any as an implementing partner, where we are collaboratively working towards addressing this aspect. We have already started the engagement. We've already started one of the cleanup exercise, and also to be followed by what we call a sensitization or awareness creation, engaging the people living around that area so that they take ownership. Because sometimes people are doing things because they don't know the importance of or the dangers associated with what they are doing.
The WACA project is here to address most of these issues, to alleviate the flooding that takes place every rainy season.
We have another sub-component that is support of livelihoods. We're going to support those individuals and communities that are living along the Koto stream to improve their life and livelihoods through giving them economic opportunities. We're going to give them grants so that they will venture into entrepreneurship.
Confiscation and impounding of illegally felled timber and vehicles that were used for their transportation. We hope that the message will go out that the only way to deal with timber in this country is through the legal channels.
When it comes to timber issues, it's even worse than the drug cartel. They are very, very tactical, ready to do and go to any length to get their way out. So you have to have strong men and women who have the discipline in terms of security preparedness to counter them. That's the more reason why we inject a quasi-military system into the forest unit. It doesn't mean that we don't have people who are talented to serve, but because we want to induce that security discipline in the sector, at least to also be at the same weight with our regions. You will think that this is only done by the men in uniform, but no, they have a backup team that are also the old folks who are in the system as the forestry officers who are still there, and they'll continue to be there. They are the ones we have. They are the backbone of this forest department. We are not going to let anyone go. But we want to make sure that they have a support arm to give them what they need to function. We are going to set the best example from this. Even the vehicles are going to be seized. So everyone who has a vehicle, don't surrender your vehicle to enter into this kind of trade. You will lose your vehicle. So it has to be very clear. We are going to implement the law to the latter within our means.
Thank you very much. That was a very insightful video. And now on that note, I'd like to welcome the Honorable Minister, Manja, to give her speech. Thank you.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And good evening, Honorable Minister. Thank you for continuing to take the lead in connecting cabinet or the government to the rest of the populace. Make sure that information is not hidden anywhere, but shared with those that are really the owners. I want to recognize the presence of Honorable Ministers here. Honorable Minister Sanyang, thank you for coming. Honorable Minister Boy, thank you for coming. Honorable Minister Job, thank you for coming. It's all about cabinet. That's why we call it Ministerial Town Hall. I also recognize the presence of my team, led by the Permanent Secretary Ibrahim Majawara, and all the projects heads and the directors here present, and of course the technical staff as well. The media, I cannot let you out because you are the reason why we are here. We cannot bring the entire Gambia here, therefore, we expect the media to support us so that the rest of the population will see what we are doing and then hear us loud and clear. The Minister of Environment, Climate Change and Natural Resources, of course, most people already know, we are given the mandate to look into the environment and, of course, its management issues. climate change actions and conservation of natural resources. The ministry is supported by 2 technical departments and also an agency. That's the Department of Parks and Wildlife, Department of Forestry, and the Environment Agency. Directly under the ministry, we have 2 units. That's the Central Project Coordination Unit, who is coordinating and also looking into the affairs of projects. And we also have the Climate Change Secretariat, who is managing matters of climate change. The Gambia has ratified or ascended to several multilateral environmental agreements, such as the 3 Riot Conventions, the United Nations Convention on Biological Diversity, the United Nations Convention, Framework Convention on Climate Change, and the United Nations Convention on to combat desertifications. These, among other other policies or other agreements, guides our policy, actions, and legal frameworks on sustainable management of the environment, biodiversity conservation, and climate change. Please allow me to take you a little bit back into the history. At a time when before we had our independence, that was a time when forestry matters were not even overseen in the country, but in an administrative structure in Sierra Leone. Matters of the environment was not much on the agenda. But again, that was the time 66 forest parks were also gazetted around 1952 to 1954. Now I go to the Department of Forestry. The Department of Forestry Act 1977 is a legal instrument that created the department, but also set it as a distinct standalone department when it was from its unit structure at the time. And it's also mandated to regulate and manage our forest resources and implement policies related. Department of Forestry contributes around 1% of the GDP, not small, but you can all agree with me that as the data presents, more than 85% of our domestic energy is from the forestry. But again, this is used by 90% or more of our population. In 1977, the Gambia's total forest area was estimated 400 hectares, covering about 46% of the total land size. And in 2010, this reduced to 423,000, while the agricultural land was seen to be on the increase. You will see why this, and you will all agree with me that this is also one of the key challenges we have as a country. But again, if this trend should continue, in 3 decades we will lose more than half of our forest land and also our woodlots. So therefore, I am happy to tell you that going by the forestry, National Forestry Policy 2010-2019, and also some of our key agreements, international conventions, the Gambia has strongly put up to make sure that at least we are able to have 30% of our land covered under forestry protected areas. So therefore, this is important. And we will all see that if you have 30 of the land, meaning it's going to reduce from the 423,000. But it's going to be 340. But again, we are factoring in the long term. Population will increase, we'll have improvement, and also the land size and agriculture also demand will come. So in as much as the reduction in terms of the land size as we are forecasting will happen, we still want to maintain at least 340,000 hectares to be protected. And that is going to be 30% of the total land size. The Department of Forestry is one of the most important forest sectors or departments under the ministry when it comes to climate change mitigations. And then under it, we have implemented a very widely praised initiative, that is the Community Forest Initiatives. It's one of at least the most solid one that the rest of the regions are learning from us. Gambia has taken the lead in that. Why the community forest is an initiative that was taken to make sure that at least we have everybody on board in managing our forest resources and also the forest land. Because when people take ownership now, they take the lead in making sure that they preserve it, which was lacking then. So today, up to today, as of today, we're having 234 communities forests covering 24,000 hectares has been reserved through all processes taken. And on the line, we have 137 covering 13,474 hectares. Just about last 2 weeks, the end of April, I handed over 29 community forest management agreements covering a total area of 2,331 hectares to their respective communities. The ban on export and re-export of key endangered forest tree species is a great achievement of this government. I want to confess that, as we have seen, the challenges related to illegal logging and sale of timber are complex, as I mentioned, just like we have in the drug cartel. But I think we are much easier because the timber you can put in your pocket, you can put in your house, it's visible. So if we are ready to and put all efforts, we'll be able to mitigate this illegal activity. So far, all the reports we received on the re-export of timber are unsubstantiated. So definitely, I think kudos to the team and also to the government of the Gambia under his leadership, His Excellency, who is our champion support in this endeavor. Under this new director, Lieutenant Colonel we have started a new and unprecedented crackdown on illegal smugglers and dealers. And I want to assure you that this exercise will continue until we are able to stop the last man. I cannot ignore the chronic challenges of the Department of Forests, which is bushfire. Bushfire is one of the biggest problems, knocking down restoration efforts and generally affecting our reforestation targets. Though the EBA project is supported, and now we are able to say that we have a National Wildfire Management Strategy and Action Plan 2024-2034. But again, we need all hands on deck because these are man-made, and therefore local authorities are also very important. Therefore, we are engaging and also embarking on national sensitization to keep every hand on the table. The department is also confronted with policy gaps. The ministry is working fast on this to review the Forest Act 2018, and drafting is in progress. On administrative reform, after a careful legal review, and the ministry is supporting the department to implement the concept of having a quasi-military operational structure with the ultimate objective to instill higher moral and professional discipline that will enhance efficiency in the department. Next, allow me to go to the Department of Parks and Wildlife. Through the Wildlife Conservation Act 1977, the department was elevated from a unit to a standalone department with the mandate and responsibility to conserve the Gambia's wildlife resources and oversee protected areas. I cannot forget the Banjul Declaration issued by His Excellency, former and late President Sadauda Kairaba Jawara in 1977. This declaration laid the foundation for subsequent long-term legislations, promoted public awareness, and it was supported by both local and international people who are environmentalists. Key achievements of the department: expanded protected areas, because this is very important. The target is to have 10% of the total land size protected. The department has overseen the designation and management of several key reserves and national parks, including Kiang West National Park, River Gambia National Park, home to rehabilitated chimpanzees, and the Nyomi National Park. I am honored to inform you that in February 2024, and in accordance with the Biodiversity and Wildlife Act 2003, I declared one marine protected area and 4 indigenous community forest areas as protected, covering 12,947 hectares. With this, we now have 27 wildlife protected areas, totaling to 109,586 hectares, thereby achieving our target to have 10% of the total surface area protected achieved finally. Thank you, and kudos to the department heads. Following approval of the Gambia's application to be part of the UNESCO network of biosphere reserves, I am also happy to inform you that officially the department through the ministry have already declared the Nyomi Biosphere National at Nyomi as a biosphere under the UNESCO. In January 2025, this was officially done, and we had teams from the UNESCO who joined us to celebrate these momentum occasions. The area covers a total of 193,300 305 hectares. This is the first biosphere reserve designated in the Gambia, and it includes a Ramsar wetland and a UNESCO World Heritage Site of the Kunta Kinte. It's a very important achievement of the department, of course, the government of the Gambia. On policy reforms, we are already working on the CITES and Biodiversity and Wildlife Bill. It's at the final stage of the legal review with the Minister of Justice. All these protected zones mentioned above help in safeguarding a rare and endangered species, complementing targets set in our national determined contributions and the long-term climate strategy. Now let me go to NEA. NEA is the principal environmental regulating body in the Gambia, overseeing environmental policies, regulation, and enforcement. And their efforts are critical in mitigating climate change impacts and fostering a resilient and ecological balance feature for the country. Some of the key achievements on the NEA. They have signed an MOU with Sonaget of Senegal, that's a waste management unit or department, and also with Jospons group of companies in Accra to provide a sustainable solution to the chronic waste management challenges as directed by His Excellency the President. They have also launched the National Action Plan to End Plastic Pollution in the Gambia, which was approved by Cabinet in 2024. This is a 10-year plan to eliminate single-use plastic and general pollution from plastic by 26% come 2033. They have also published in the National Gazette names of 27 environmental inspectors and 26 technical officers of the NEA to enhance enforcement gaps of the environment laws, which we all agree that we have gaps in enforcement. Waste Management Bill. This bill has gone through the second reading, and that's the Waste Management Bill 2025. The main purpose or objective of this bill is to enhance efficiency and effective management of waste in all forms. Through the WACA project, NEA is supported and is reviewing the environmental impact assessment regulations and also the anti-litter regulation 2007 to fill in the policy gap and the evolving needs. The Chemical and Pesticides Control and Management Bill was approved by Cabinet in 2024, and it is on the list to be submitted to the National Assembly by MOJ. April 2025, Cabinet approved the Gambia's Integrated Coastal Zone Management Bill 2025 to help establish a governance system that empowers and supports an integrated approach to managing the use of coastal areas. On capacity building and inclusive participation in awareness creation, NEA provided training to 172 key stakeholders in hazardous chemical and pesticides management in 2023 and trained religious leaders on environmental laws in 2024 so that they can also join in our advocacy. NEA is implementing several administrative reforms such as using the carrot and stick formula to reward and punish attendance and performance. This you will all agree is very important for productivity. Additionally, under the JEF 6 project, NEA has supported the construction of the following from 2022 to date: the Gambia Navy Outpost in Lamin Koto, CRR, an Eco Lodge in Bustown, CRR, a watchtower in Sambel Kunda, CRR. I think they are the most luckiest. I don't know for what reason, but again, I'm from CRR, so it's good. Boreholes and reservoirs in 5 women's community gardens in CRR, North and South. A traditional courthouse in Wasu, CRR. NEA has also installed successfully 17 air quality monitoring devices in all major towns of the Gambia to monitor air quality, making the Gambia the first country in the sub-region to achieve national coverage of this exercise. Hence, time is not much on our side. I will just leave this to the team to swallow next time, but I'm not finished. I still have to go through the ministry itself. On the policy and legal reform of the ministry itself, the Gambia is committed to adequately and effectively participating in the UNFCCC processes for the implementation of the conventions and agreements. Under the 2016 National Climate Change Policy, which is currently under review to usher in a revised version supported by WACA, the Gambia is committed to providing a determined and systematic response to the interlinked climate threats to sustainable development, well-being, and ecological integrity. Under this government, where you will all agree with me that democracy is strongly nurtured and legalities are of great concern, MEGNA has witnessed rigorous policy and legal reforms and compliance in the implementation of the international treaties since 2017. In 2021, the Gambia wrapped up its emission elimination targets in its second nationally determined contributions, NDC2, which has been praised to be highly ambitious. The NDC2 focused more on agriculture, forestry, transport, energy sector, and waste management. With the support from the NDC partners in 2024, the Ministry has launched nationally the implementation plan for the NDC, which was also costed. The Ministry has prepared and submitted its first biannual updated report to UNFCCC in December 2024, and also directly overseen preparation of the first ever National Climate Change Act and Carbon Trading Act. The revised National Climate Change Policy has also gone through validation, supported by WACA. The Gambia has developed a comprehensive long-term climate strategy, climate neutral strategy by 2025, and this was submitted to the UNFCCC in September 2022. The LTS, as commonly called, is nationally owned and nationally led. Therefore, the Ministry calls on all relevant sectors and institutions and private sectors to take the lead and ownership, as our interest is key in this. The LTS focuses on two scenarios. We have the business as usual scenario, which shows that if the country continues the way we are, we will increase emissions to about 15,894, that's the greenhouse carbon dioxide equivalent emissions, which will be emitted in the country by 2050. That is, if no action is taken. The net zero scenario aims to conditionally or unconditionally reduce emissions by 2.7% here to 2030, below business as usual, and also conditional on international funding, which is critical, by 55.4% the same period. As a recognized leader for its ambitious climate commitment, MEGNA stands at the forefront of the Gambia's pursuit of sustainable development and climate resilience. Among other challenges confronting the ministry stands out encouragement to reserve forests and also the need to expand infrastructural development. This is all induced by population growth. We'll all agree that the population before independence was less than 500,000 or around. In 1994, it goes a little bit above 1 million or around. And then now we are counting towards 3 million. And the land size, if it has not reduced, then it's still the same. So therefore, you will agree with me that we will have crisis when it comes to land if we don't manage it properly. And of course, forestry and our protected areas are feeling the burden. But what we do as a government, in everything you do, we must have to strategize. We must have to be innovative. We must have to be tactical. Gambia contributes that only 0.01% to the climate change impacts. But again, we have obligation as a country because we are also in agreement and we are in a global world. But what we do as a country is to make sure that at least we strategize. We reserve some part based on needs and urgency or other situations and reserve others. Since 2017, the government reserved a total land size of 107.5 hectares. But also, we have gazetted and reserved a total land area of about 15,278 hectares. This confirms that for every hectare reserved under this government, we have replaced it with 142 hectares. I think this is wise planning. You will all agree with me. Now on waste management, people will now speculate, and then of course I have to make this clear. It's either because the information is not well cleared or people lack this knowledge. Always here in, here out, the Minister of Environment is queried about the cleanliness of this country, and NEA is pointed fingers on. But I want to refer you to the Anti-Litter Regulation 2007, Part 4. Of course, NEA's responsibility here to monitor and audit the activities of local authorities to ensure that the provision of these regulations are implemented as necessary, because they are the custodian of this law to implement. Under the same regulations, part, the same part, 14A, a local authority shall ensure that each public road or area within its jurisdiction is so far as predictable, as practicable, kept free of litter. The same authority is expected to take all measures to prevent the creation of litter in its jurisdictions. The same authority is expected to control and ensure the disposal of litter. Again, any as the regulatory body needs to also check them and put them to book. And this is also where we also have to admit our shortfalls. And I think here, what we all have to do is to look for solutions. And budgetary constraint is a key dilemma of the ministry. The LTS was costed at $4 billion at the time it was finalized in 2022. Going by this, we would require an average of 138 million per annum between 2022 to 2050 to achieve our net zero emission targets. According to the Organization of the Economic Cooperation and Development report, May 2024, 69% of the public finance provided in 2022 to least developed countries, including the Gambia, was in the form of loans, and only 28% as grants. And even this grant is not being explicit. We are still battling as to what is climate finance. This is one of the main reasons why the LDCs, that's the least developed countries, including the Gambia, are putting up the position to achieve a clear definition for climate finance, to avoid giving us loans when we have caused little to this problem. This government has established a climate finance unit under the Ministry of Finance to support access to climate finance, but also coordinate, monitor, and report on all actual climate finances received. Notwithstanding the above-mentioned challenges, government understands the reality of its responsibility in mitigating the impacts of climate change and other environmental issues. Therefore, we are exploring innovative climate financing and strategies to support the implementation of our climate actions, and this includes carbon trading, strengthening international partnership, including South-South cooperation, and creating opportunities for private sector play in our climate ambitions. Please allow me to conclude with brief mention of some of our key active projects, while I allow the director of the CPCU to give you a detailed report or a detailed brief on this. The OMVG Interconnection Project is a regional initiative involving the Gambia, Senegal, Guinea, and Guinea-Bissau. It comprises a 1,677-kilometer voltage transmission line and 15 substations, forming a loop that interconnects the power grids of member countries. This infrastructure facilitates the exchange of electricity across borders, enabling countries to share surplus powers and improve energy access, security, and efficiency. The OMVG member states also leverages on this cooperation to share and make better use of their natural resources. The Gambia, Soma, and Brikama power stations are fully completed and inaugurated. As of November 2023, the Gambia and Senegal have commenced energy exchanges via the OMVG transmission line, and the completion of the Sambangalo Dam in 2027 will provide an additional clean energy source and the opportunity for the Gambia to access up to 50,000 hectares of irrigated land for agriculture. With support from WACA project, the ministry is currently developing environmental quality standard regulation, the first ever climate act, and updating the climate change policy and strategy, conducting sewage treatment and water quality assessment study, and developing a gender and climate change action plan. I think the gender minister is happy. Thank you for coming. In enhancing climate resilience, under the WACA project, the minister has supported communities of Kotu with short-term intervention and aimed at flood mitigation, and this includes what we have seen in the video: removal of vegetation and waste in waterways along the stream and distribution of water pumps. This intervention has significantly reduced the flood in the intervention area during the last rainy seasons. That is an evidence to show that it's working. On building resilience of farmers against climate change impacts, the RICA project is currently piloting crop insurance for 3,070 households in CRR and URR, among other climate insurance activities. And they're also partnering with the central bank to implement innovative climate insurance projects. On restoration and conservation, the Ministry, with support from EBA project, established 9 tree nurseries of 1 million seedlings capacity in different forest stations, embarked on agroforestry planting in 1,000 smallholder farms across the country, planted more than 550 hectares of mangroves, and grew high-value agroforestry plants in 80 schools and 60 roadside communities. On sustainable livelihood and infrastructure development, the ministry, again still under EBA, constructed key infrastructure such as Kosemak Tender Eco Lodge. 5 huts are there, 10 rooms, accommodating boreholes, elevated tanks, water system, and a state-of-the-art food processing and market center in Birkama, CRR, among others. Supported and constructed 4 vegetable gardens, now operational, and they are in Batinjol, Karantaba Dutokoto, Limbambulu Yamadu, and Tamba Sansang. On the sustainable waste management initiatives, in 2023 and 2024, NEA distributed 55 tricycles to regional councils, youth, gardens, and healthcare facilities to strengthen waste collection. Deployed over 1,350 waste bins to councils and municipalities to support anti-litter efforts. Donated 5 motorbikes to KMC for waste management monitoring. Currently reviewing a comprehensive waste management proposal from the Just Punch group of companies, and we are highly optimistic that, inshallah Rabbi, this will finally present a sustainable solution of this waste crisis. The climate and environmental challenge facing the Gambia are extensive and evolving. The Gambia's vulnerability to rising sea level and erratic rainfall patterns against the increase in population and limited financial and human resource underscores the necessity for continuous innovation and collaboration. Thus, the Ministry is stretching its plan to strengthen international cooperation and partnership, including in inducing private sector participation to expand access to climate finance. Our plans also include scaling up ecotourism and agroforestry and embracing digital tools to enhance administrative efficiency and achieve our NDCs. The Ministry is working on plans to explore innovative strategies to revive and improve its service quality. We are exploring to work with the Ministry of Tourism so that we can revive life into key of our parks, Key Bijilo, and also the Abuko. We are seeing that they are deteriorating in terms of services, and these are very vital parks that we cannot just allow to deteriorate as we are seeing. Through the EBA project, the Ministry is working with the UTG to finalize the development of a curriculum on environmental and climate change-related topics to support sustainable capacity development locally. His Excellency the President is inaugurating, I'm happy to say this, please allow me to clap for the Ministry. The President is inaugurating the Ministry's first ever mega complex next week, Wednesday, the 14th May, 2024. You are all invited to grace this important and historic milestone. Don't be absent. This is an important achievement expected to enhance coordination, reporting, and administrative efficiency. We are having all our departments and projects under one roof. I think it has been long overdue. It has taken too long, but again, never to be too late. It's better to be too late than never. Looking ahead, we will continue to strengthen policies, expand conservation programs, and invest in sustainable livelihoods. Through collaborative efforts with national and international partners, we will remain committed to bringing in efficiency and new life in the management of our key parks and resources. Together, let us build a greener, more resilient, and prosperous Gambia. I will thank you by saying that this is a brief introduction to set the pace for a more detailed insight by the senior management and the technical team on the panel. I told the Minister, if I I've edited this piece more than I cannot count the numbers. And I want to believe even I've left out one of the most relevant things because of putting its size. Hence, I know that you'll peg me onto the 20 minutes. Thank you for your kind attention. Okay. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Ngambadi mandingol be konton. Ngan mel baby janta ngebe tentu ngejay minisal mel mabeta janto. Anyi ndoko nyol, and of course, kafa minister ya baraka bake kanjiani masa kundato. Mansa Kunda mbe ngana say me dalikala le ni programme ka fa ko aka Mansa Kunda la doku aka be men ke kan banku dingole ke soño kan kar kon tele be den din doku la le mbula jane be janke ka ko mara baka pour nga bonyo kalama bari mbe ngam men fo angale kon nin ko mbabe ko la mané kan ko min sabe na mbulo sabalal bara ko mara baka nga faale ko ngalom banku dingol be e ka men nyinin ka bake ku flalom wolon ka fa ko nkanna na kenol men ka fa ko mul ka dungi kono nga kenyo men ka fa ko banko ye muta Mansa Kunda ye muta ka fa ko ni ye kantale pour yeke forestry ma yeke paxti mul ka tay ka dunga kono bari ku kilin kule asabu mola yiri ko be kafu kan ne ajibe janni ba fala independent 1965 woto mona yiri ko amang kemelulu wasi kana 1994 yiri ko nyin kafu ta katambe naman tara million killing abe salawle demanding bari bitilo be men konti kan nka million sabale wale andi wo million sabo be nyim banku killing wala kamen kafu ko akeno happo naman tala man kafu wote bajala kafu ko ka sula kenyola abe kafu kanne pour ida mola taradula lombang fo Mansa Kunda fongala ala yirwa do ko lom kan kon takle sango so do fanke banko to bari ministre nyi ngal tel nga taram blomenta wala kafu ko songa fanyi ndima ke kan ika planning neke fay strategic fay la mari ila miro nyi ayirwa wo miro nyi yirwa nga menje wala kafu ko bari banko keno nyi ngam to mala mena wuto mo jang banko la yiri kan amang kafuten saimbe mu nekkal wala kafu ko nga mexo kafu ko bari hani sain ntelal sulalo mente molo ngana kayto men sa wala kafu ko janni ba fala wati jang laftele pour banko nyi men kafu ko a happo tansaba ay tara marolo ko to men kafa be kala environment la marolo ko to ida ke forestry o ya ke party bitun kawo soto be mu nekkal wala kafu ko cap strategic fo nga dulado be men kafu ko mba bondila forestry la marolo ko to le nga dulado fanta fara nga murundi forestry la marolo ko to mbole ke kan Mansa Kunda ko bin 2027 nga menta nga bondi forestry la ala marolo ko to do se nyinin kano ba naje manna wo be na ci nan a jam fatale wala ka nga je bondi bara be mu dalilo men ka ko pour ka banko nyi yiriwa ma wafu ma di mola ma ke kordati a be mu pour meti banko la yiriwa banko dingola nafa wala kan nga bondato bari hectare keme ani worawla anin tala nga wole bondi forest to yala kata na kake banko la yiriwa kudolti bari wo be tata nata banko fana ye menke Mansa Kunda ye menko lon ka ko niya hectare kili menje nga menta nga bondi forest to yala o ka bondi maralo forest la maralo koto hectare keme hectare tanani anin fula nga woleta nga murde kotenke hectare kili nga jo sayni hectare keme hectare tanani anin fula lala woto nga mela mombe so nanyina ka fako ni be nyaton kayato ika miralo ta ya keson me yalon ka fako asila yiri wanyin tambina nyato isi lowo kan bari ya mexo kafu fana ifana meso la mena fana pula banki ngol nafa anin banko la yiriwa ikana fana nasende nga woleke bari kana fana nyin na banko la senya kama mo jama ngalon kafe be nyikat banko be nori nga fo jande ko tumando fa hamrole be dasare ndomande mo jama le kankol mo jama bije mo kafe ika mesiyol kinyana ministre jambe nori ne nga aljam fita anyi nyamo ko bari na anti lita regulation wanyen 2027 me kafe ko mba jube kan pour ka ko tayande ko tenke bara metale ay même foje wolon ka fako ministre nyen NIA koto NIA la fasaro koto e mantala malaring pour ka nota ka bi ma ka fay amake ministre do ko wote council la do ko lan wote luwani ye wala fo al besta jube no nyi luwani al bastno la YouTube abi jele abi online that's the anti litter regulation 2007 bari nak ministre fanyana nyanto bi jamen ka fako nin council me ka wala be marren pour ka nyen luwata ka tamandi e ma ka nyama nyanta fana kia mix ka fa nge sambalu wato wo sembo nyaka nyanta fana nge regle nge tontondi bari fana mum fanya na so men ka fa kon sake bari atata nata fonga bulo jibe fero me ka fa ko nyi nyama ko nyi asa banno fereng nsi lonkan me ka fa asinte nafa ay kansul nafa ay banko nafa ay banko dingol fana nafa ay sama fanya nafa wolo munti nga system nyi men ka fa ko isi nosi kono anyama asida dano dara men ka fa ko anina alhawa fana manyo tampon waya kendi sain duntan ni molbe nyomoy kan ndata gana nga jibe wol kela no nyinta kamana nyami nga compagnie ka compagnie balon a compagnie sembo bala andum ye la do kono nga je nyala man ka ko kon kay kon tata fujele nga je nyala woto compagnie ni be tama ka nyata janna ye yirkalo ke jere nata la punga kachol sign say kayto nyin kinyane pour nga jube nga kuse nga jube kafko ntel be mun tanyo la je o be mentala nga falen je bar ngal ne kafko ni la doko ning ala sonta abe yiri wana ti den nyama fo en nyama ko la karola ning ala sonta andun kate mela in wolof okay, that's fine. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister, for that very comprehensive presentation. I think by now we've had an idea as to what your sector is doing well. I'd like to give the chance to your partners to also speak. I was wondering if you could in the local languages. The name, designation, and your role, just briefly in the local languages of your choice, please. We'll start with you. The mic is there. 3-4 minutes. Yeah.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum. Mangi gërëm ñëpp di leen sant di gërëm lu ministre yi nga xam ne ñoo fi toog tey honorable ministers yi directors commencé ko suma own minister honorable Rohey Manja man may Njaga Touré my the Deputy Executive Director, National Environment Agency. So mang fi togal te suma boss Dr. Dawda Badji mom mi nga xamne mo fi warna tok waye mu ngi ci benen engagement ci bitim rew. So National Environment Agency comme nuko ministre waxe ñun suñ liggéey dafa yaatu torop waye luko yaatul force ñu commencé ci li nga xamne moy National Environment Management Act bi moy loi bi nga xamne mom mo ñu sas li nga xam ne moom leen war a def si environmental management bokk na si li nga xam ne lu waaye loolu la ñu jox mooy ñu yaatal xam-xam si mbiru environment parce que soo xamul rek lu bari doo ko mën a def te environment dafa nekk li nga xam ne dafa sensitive ñun ñëpp daanaka sun dunduwaay si environment bi la sosu so kon su demee noonu foog ñu jéem a yaatal xam-xam bi si ñi nga xam ne ñoom ñoo nekk si réew mi bokk na si lu ñoo def tam mooy environmental impact assessment bi mooy comme tool la bi nga xam ne daf ñuy dimbale pour ñu mun a xam development projects yi nga xam ne yooyu la ñoo def ida nguur baa koy def wala private sector bi wala anybody ki nga xam ne yaa ngi war a def any project or any activity su ko defee dinañ use the EIA tool su ko defee ñu mun a gestu project bi wala liggéey bi suñ ko defee ana ban tolof lay indi si environment bi ak si ñi nga xam ne ñoom ñoo toog si environment bi su ko defee dinañ mun a identify some of those impacts and suñu mun a xam tam naka la ñoo mun a wàññee problème yi nga xam ne yooyu la project bi di mun a indi so lii lu am solo la ba pare ñi ngi gërëm la si government bi nga xam ne ñu ngi ñooy dimbale trop si lii ak also the UN bodies parce que nekk na li nga xam ne léegi àdduna bi yëpp ñoo ko nangu ne bépp project whether government non government foog mu def lu ñu ooy an environmental and social impact assessment pour ne na bépp lu ñooy def du indi ay tolof si réew mi ak tamit bokk na si li nga xam ne loolu lu important la si lu ñoo def mooy monitoring and reporting on the state of the environment report bi dañ ko de publish every 5 years bi lu mooy def mooy daf ñëwoon Gambia commencé ko juróomi at si gannaaw ba at sangam yan yàqu-yàqu moo xew si environnement bi li nga xam ne dinañ mun a xayma ok yàqu-yàqu bii de su waree continuer nii in the next 10 years suñ jëlut ay jéego dina cause problème bii nii su ko defee dinañu mun a create some policy measures su ko defee ñu mun a advise policy on other mitigation measures ok so bokk na si tam si lu ñoo def mooy si lu ñoo ooyee environmental quality monitoring ok ministre bi wax na ko fii pollution in general li mooy comme yëfi mbalit bi nekk na li nga xam ne moo gën a tuuti si pollution parce que loolu leen gis waaye am na leen li nga xam ne moo gën a dangerous dan mbalit mooy pollutants yi nga xam ne duñ ko gis dafay nekk si jaww ji wala mu nekk suñ lekkay wala mu nekk si ndox mi ñu koy jëfandikoo waaye lii duñ ko dee gis soo lii nekk na nga xam ne lu am solo la soo loolu bokk na suñ liggéey pour ñu monitor yi nii di analyse suñ ndox mi suñ suuf si jaww ji yan pollutants ñoo fa nekk li nga xam ne dina lor doomi aadama so li bokk na si mooy li ministre wax léegi luñ install about 17 air quality monitoring devices report wane na ne Gambien bu nekk soo ko seetee bu jag dina am respiratory problem lii lu ko waral mooy pollution I mean pollution bi nga xam ne duñ koy gis waaye every day ñu ngi si so li lu am solo la so quality monitoring yi nga xam ne ñu ngi ko install dinañu jox ay xibaar yi nga xam ne ñun tam dinañ mun a inform askan wi wax leen ne yii mooy pollutants yi nga xam ne mi ngi lor doomu aadama te ay jéego yii leen war a def ba nga xam ne dañ ko mun a wàññi su ko defee ñu mun a aar wérgu yarami Gambien bi ok so environmental education lu am solo la waaye nag bëgguñoo em rek si modern communication aspects yi tax na ba léegi commencé nañ di engage religious leaders yi mooy di Christian leaders di Muslim leaders parce que soo ko seetee àjjuma bu nekk benn imam mu nekk ñaata doomi aadama mooy julli si gannaaw imam boobu noonu wala dimanche bu nekk ñaata doomi Christian ñooy jaamu si gannaaw pasteur boobu noonu so ñu ne léegi kon suñ tàggatee ñii ni ñu waxtaan ak ñoom and sensitize leen su ko defee ñoom tam ñu mun a boole si seen xutbaay ak si seen sermons yi su ko defee dina tax ne léegi environmental awareness dina gën a yaatu si réew mi ba nga xam ne lu bari daal dinañu mun a dimbale si ñun ñi nga xam ne ñoo nekk di enforce environmental law parce que amul that human capacity bi nga xam ne dina mën a dem fu nekk waaye ñëpp bu nekkee police environmental police dina tax ne li nga xam ne moom la ñoo def dina gën a yomba su ko defee ñëpp dinañ aar si environmental pollution. jërëjëf.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yes.
Assalamualaikum. Suma tur bi mooy Ibrahima Jawara, Permanent Secretary, Minister of Environment, Climate Change, Natural Resources. maa ngi nuyu ñu fi nekk tey ak ñu nekk di seetaan tamit doore ko si suba ministre Hon.Rohey Manja, suñu host bi Honorable Dr. Cissé, yeneen ministre yi nekk fii Permanent Secretary, suba mbokki liggéeykat yi nekk fii tamit. Ministry bi well damay yokk tuuti rek si lu ministre bi wax ak suba collègue bi Njaga Touré from ADA. am na yenn sentence moom foog boo ko si anglais foog ba ne naa ko mën a si olof okay. The Ministry of Environment, Climate Change and Natural Resources is the government of Gambia's lead institution for all matters relating to the environment, climate change and the country's natural resource base. It is charged with overseeing and coordinating the development and implementation of every policy, law, strategy and program that touches these three areas in order to safeguard public well-being and underpin sustainable national development. The ministry has 6 core functions as follows. 1 is policy, leadership and mainstreaming. The ministry drafts cabinet papers, bills, regulations, and national strategies, ensuring that environmental and climate considerations are embedded across all sectors of the economy. The second one is climate change action. MECNA serves as Gambia's focal point for the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. It prepares nationally determined contributions, mobilizes climate finance, and guides adaptation and mitigation projects, such as the large-scale ecosystem-based adaptation project and West Africa Coastal Resilience project. So, Minister bi wax na yé ba pare waaye dama ko summarize pour wane ne 6 juróom benn functions la ministre bi am. The third one is natural resource management. It sets policy and provides oversight for forestry, wildlife, protected areas, land, and coastal resources to halt deforestation, biodiversity loss, and land degradation. Environmental governance and compliance. Through the National Environment Agency, NEA, it runs the Environmental Impact Assessment System, enforcing pollution and waste management standards. Already my colleague from NEA has dilated more on that. Coordination and partnerships. The ministry leads the work of its line departments, the Department of Forestry and the Department of Parks and Wildlife Management. It also works with other ministries, local government actors, civil society, and private sector around shared environmental goals. The last mandate is resource mobilization and public awareness. The ministry seeks domestic and external funds for green investment and represents the Gambia in regional and global environmental fora, such as ECOWAS, African Union, United Nations, and the OMVG. MACNA's long-term vision is a Gambia in which the environment and natural resources are sustainably managed for the benefit of all citizens. And its mission is to secure that outcome while increasing national resilience to climate change. Within the Green Recovery-focused National Development Plan 2023 to 2027, YIRIWA, the ministry will prioritize net zero emissions by 2050 and economy-wide resilience, nature-based solutions for coastal defense and food security, circular economy approaches to waste and plastics, leveraging carbon markets and climate finance to scale green investment, and finally to curb illegal logging and illicit charcoal production. In short, MECNA is the custodian of the Gambia's environmental integrity and climate future. Its mandate spans rulemaking, enforcement, stewardship of forests and wildlife, climate leadership, and the mobilization of finance and partnerships that make sustainable low-carbon growth possible. Understanding this mandate is essential for anyone wishing to engage with environmental or climate-related work in the Gambia, whether in government, business, or civil society. Thank
you. Thank you very much. Briefly, 3-4 minutes in the local languages of your choice, please. Your name, designation, and the role. Just briefly, please.
Assalamu alaikum. Man maa ngi tudda Boubacar Zeydi Diallo suma liggéey bi man lañ dénkaane place bi si ron suñ ministre Hon.Rohey John Manja bu ñu ooyee deputy permanent secretary loolu moo mel comme naïb si PS bi ñun ñoo ko dee jàppale maa ngi door di ak nuyu suma suñ kilifa suñ boss Hon.Rohey John Manja di nuyuwaale ministre yu fi nekk permanent secretary suñ morom mi ñu bokkal liggéey si nguur bi man lu ma wax dama yokk tuuti rek si yëfi wecci jaww bi Gambia yàgg na ñoo xam si taxawaay bu dëgër ak bu njool si àdduna bi yëpp si yëfi wecceeku jaww bi lu tax loolu parce que depuis bu liggéey bi dooree depuis 1994 Gambia bokkoon nañ si ñu d'accord ak signé lu ñoo ooyee convention bi ñëwaat si dëkk bi fii suñ ministre yu mu ngi liggéey bu baax si suñ projet si ak si suñ département si pour yombal dundi nit yi because wecci jaww bi loolu la léegi na yokka lu si luñ naan am nawet ay juróomi weer léegi nii soo amee ñetti weeri taw sa nga sant yàlla gis nañ last year lu xew taw bi dafa move from August léegi septembre la gën a bëri time boo xam ne nit yaa ngi waroon a génne seen gerte si suuf taw baa ngi bëri so ñu ngi isi ay jéego pour mun a dimbale loolu benn si yooyu waxoon nañ si mooy EBA project bi EBA ecosystem based adaptation si tubaab moo nekk rek liggéey si kaw lu ñu yàlla may mangi yi guy yi ñax yi ak yooyu ni ñu koo saamee pour nga xam ne mu continuer di ñu njëriñ ñu bëri duñ dee bàyyi xel ne yàlla mu ngi teg loolu fii yëpp bu nekk am na liggéey bu moo def waaye duñ dee xam njëriñam bi ba suñ ko yaaxee and di nga gis ne projet bi yokk na di taawal na jigéen ñi Gambie tamit trop parce que isin la gars lu ñoo ooyee MPC multipurpose center jigéen ñi léegi mun nañoo jël seen kaba seen daxaar yi seen even luñ te defaree cuuraay xaw ma gawe dem foofu noonu ñu liggéey ko ñu am lu ñëw yóbboo seen xale yi fi school bi ko xam nañ ne jigéen ñi Gambie nuñ taxawee ñoom ay jàmbaar lañ ñaareel bi tamit am na beneen projet mu ngi tudda RICA boobu agriculture béykat yi la moo bàyyi xel ministre bi waxoon na ko fii si spijam bi 3070 béykat la gars yi ni ko di dimbale leen si naka su fekkee ne gars yi béy nañ ba pare taw bi doyut léegi projet bi dafa naa fayal insurance pour juróomi at waaye nu projet bi di gën a demee ñu dañoo wàññi lu ñu leen a fayal ñoom tamit su fekkee ne gis nañ njëriñ bi ñu door di fayal seen boppa parce que lii lu ees la fii nii am nañ insurance pour safara am nañ insurance pour gaal wala business waaye bu agriculture bi mooy que wàllum béy bi des na ba pare ñu ne gis nañ lu xew comme nu ma ko waxee last year so foog naa lii lu am fayda la si kaw loolu tamit ñu ngi seet lu ñoo mën a dimbalee community ay dëkk yoo xam ne ñu ngi dëkk si boori àll yi lu ñoo ooyee community forest wala ñu ooyee ay mangrove areas pour nga xam ne si ron ministère bi ñu ngi liggéey pour ici loi boo xam ne dëkk boo xam ne di nga mun a saama sa yenn façon yi àll incha allah dinañ mun a jaay njëriñ bi parce que soo gisee guy am njëriñ daf dee wàññi tàngaay bi si jaww ji lu ñoo ooyee carbone tubaab bi waaye soo ko lakkee wala nga dog ko da nga ko dee delluwaat foofu soo mënee saama sa àll bi lu dem ay juróomi at wala lu ëpp loolu am na loo si dee mën a jëlee ba pare ministre bi mu ngi dëgëral taxawaayam ñu ngi liggéeyal ak suñu mbokk yu nekk Ministry of Justice pour mun a isi loolu nga xam ne nañ mun a dimbale am nañ ne am dépense ak koppar pour yóbbu dëkk si kanam yombut waxuma la kër sax soo lii teg nañ ne na mun a ñëw dimbale ñu yokkal ñu xelaat ñu gën a xam nu ñoo mun a dundee exemple moo nekk time boobu suñ jigéen yu daan lifin yoxoos ut yoxoos xam nañ ne loolu business boobu 99% jigéen la waaye da ngaa gis ne suñ demoon dañoo dog banxaas yi
to 11 communities and key national institutions, which resulted in significant reduction of flooding last year, as already alluded by my Honorable Minister. In terms of governance, the project has also completed the National Disaster Risk Policy, financing regulations, and also conducted an institutional capacity assessment of the different ministries. And now they are providing capacity building for these key ministries to ensure that the gaps that are already existing in those sectors are filled so that when the project ends, there will be sustainability measures in place. Now we move to the next project, the RICA project, which is a $10 million project funded by the Adaptation Fund and is implemented in URR and CRR. The project aims to build adaptive capacities of 168,000 people with a special focus on women and youth. It cut across 3 components. Component 1 looking at knowledge and planning for evidence-based adaptations, while component 2 looking at concrete resilient measures, while component 3 is to develop incentive and crop insurance scheme. A major achievement by the project mentioned by the Honorable Minister is piloting of a crop insurance for over 3,000 households, fully covering rainfall deficit across major growth stages for millet, maize, rice, and groundnut. RICA, in partnership with the Central Bank of the Gambia, is also reviewing the national micro insurance regulations, opening door for broader insurance access for smallholder farmers. The Environmental Resilient Development Project, funded by UNDP, supports the Gambia Sustainability Development and Climate Resilience. The project supported individual farmers and communities with improved climate cassava varieties, beekeeping enterprises, and horticultural gardens. They also provide training on participatory forest management, support households with over 900 energy-efficient stoves in the North Bank, which is expected to reduce fuel consumption by 70% and emission by 11.92 tons of CO2 emissions per month. On waste, the project also has supported Kanifing Municipal Council with tricycles and composting facility for the women gardeners at Bakau. On renewable energy, the project has also established the first solar power ice plant in Carton Fish landing size, which has a capacity to produce 400 kilograms of ice per day. This will reduce post-harvest loss in terms of fish production and ensure that there is food security and improved livelihood. Again, on renewable energy, the committee of chairmen have also been supported with solar lighting system for 15 households. They ensure that these communities have enhanced rural access to electricity and their resilience is also built. The EVA project, funded by the Green Climate Fund, is a $25 million project with a significant progress in restoring nature and building resilience across livelihood in the Gambia. Some of the major achievements, as mentioned already by the Honorable Minister, is the restoration of over 500 hectares of mangrove in 27 communities, which is a clear demonstration that restoring ecosystem can restore livelihoods, especially for women, youth, and smallholder farmers. The Gambia Resilient Project, which was signed in 2022, targets
Is
to
that
strengthen...
Is that the last project?
Yes.
Okay.
Target to strengthen ecosystem and support local communities, particularly grassroots women and youth organizations, to promote sustainable livelihood. So in conclusion, I'm happy to inform you that the Central Project Coordination Unit was approved last year as a standalone unit, and we are implementing a settling down plans to ensure that all projects are coordinated within the Central Project Coordination Unit. It has a visionary climate action and is here to ensure that projects are implemented on time and in line with approved guidelines and national development plans. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. Now it's time for Q&A. We'll take questions, one question from this end and one from that end, and they'll answer, and we'll do that back and forth. Any questions? Any local language, please, or you want to speak English?
English, yes. Okay. Good evening, everyone present here. My name is Usman Bide, and I work with Paradise TV Gambia. Well, I have a question regarding pollution, because of recent we did a vox pop around Kotu police station where we visited Aqua Gambia Limited, and which is a place where the home waterways are being disposed, you know, or the sewages from our homes are being disposed, and then the residents of those areas, they bitterly complain about the smell of that area, and in fact sometimes that pond, you know, the water inside used to float around their businesses, and we know that Kotu is a tourism attraction center. So those people, they really, you know, complain about it, and then they're, you know, seeking, like, if the government can, like, or the Ministry of Environment can provide, you know, another place where that can be done, because that is a business area, and, you know, a lot of tourists used to visit that place, and that doesn't really tell well in our country. So they are really urging the government if they can do something about it. Thank you. Yeah.
Apparently you want to see that side, Mata. One question from that side.
Yeah. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. My name is Abdulatif Tabale, a 4-year computer science major at the University of the Gambia. Okay, going to the Honorable Minister, when she was speaking here, she mentioned something like the on the anti-littering regulation, they are to hold the local authorities accountable, but she was like, on that side, we fall short, and then which is not a good explanation for a ministry to give. So what's the next step forward? Because you said, solution together. We have the solution, that's the anti-littering regulations. So if you don't hold them accountable, like you are turning away from the solution and then looking for it in a wrong direction. So what's the next step?
Thank you. Honorable Minister, can answer both questions.
Okay, thank you so much. I will start with the last one. Omba kumashala nyin mel la banda kanyin karo ke wolom pour nyamo la karola. Nga fojang ka foko loi be mol bulon ka me the anti-litter regulation. Bay mol malon ko council be maladen pour ka nyamo bi anim fanan kata nyamo fay. Bari ikabe fo ministerial ani Mansa Kunda. Tonya council faram Mansa Kunda alte. Bari pour aytini amol makka foko council la loi nyanto di telela pour ka nyamo ko bari ako isembo dangoto comme mensi keno wala ken ngaji bele ka ko ni nyini ka nika engagement kele bi nga sinka kacha dol to e kam mendi wala ka ko do tebulo comme affaire o fanan tebulo bari say Mansa Kunda nyanta kele wala ka tonya nga fole en yela do kon la do ko wala ka council fanan ke sambalu wato bane sambalu wato sayin yake ndi lafta wala ne sambalu wato fanan ka ke ko jite bulu fanan hanisa you now sina go back to the drawing board nyanta mene kele wala ka foko nga kafu nyoma nga jebe ka feye me ka foka si solution nati na mole katabake anu fana si meno nga woke sayim bebe de te ka nyolale birimbita kan gana nga council samba nyol national assembly samba nyolale ani me ka foko dabe nyin ko kono ka cha sonandi nole pour ka je ka foko nga jube mensi nano kodo be bulu fanko be bulu fero be bulu makamo be bulu kana ka je ka foko ma koy nyamo nyi ko ka process ka recycle bir tadulao fa bandulao ngamere wala solution oti fulanjango nyi wolon ka foko min ko tube damento tonya nga visit kele num ko nga jele ka foko abe nyameng the sewage is alarming because it's not yake nyameng sainteng niya bong amam manage ko even though sewage management sainteng private sector lom ba sang abe nawek le koto nawek le ka wala be marlen wala bare han sain enie nten ngo bonjino la je ntele be marlen bukaje ka foko nimme ma kiya nyama andung aben alhawa o aben nasidla o abe environment ya ba mantora kanne ngate no ma ngaluata mandi no ma o ben telle bulo kono o donte bonyo la jay senia wala kendim be ferol ke kan kaje ka foko comprehensive waste management both liquid and solid waste yin siwe nyim birin nyim mol nata response group nata itara jele katu ngajele be menke kan gana akra damanda mana population is about 6 million woto nisi kututeno je katambi ka bujela ko pamada no sako do nyim banko me kan 3 million si follow so abokon tel we are in the right shape handling the issues and then going in for solution janina population be tambil abel lana tambila bulo kono so ibina kan inata janna ye janjube liquid waste nyi ngolom jang koto be nyamen itata banjul fana je fana jubele fana ye solid waste fana kenya fana jube fana sa ye kayto fon ki nanne ya kinan kunune ma jube because of nyi programme bare mba jube nga siano ma jani ba fala nyi sama be man ning ala sonta dual be jabe tam be nga nganyo kaf nyoma to mando be men kumbo kan sain abe jaral lango kelala ning ala sonta
so ya mera muntumale dilbina do ko nyum commencer la ye
programme men di molla ila implementation programme ka fu jan melom ibe proposal kila sa tudan telle bulu nga siya kunna nin technician ani melbe be marle melbe dabi jeto nga jube nga ninga kusoto je men ka fu ko lafta ka fali nga kiye kataba e celbe damente paretel fa para sande de ibir working pour officer establish jam
so ni tol nata mi ndo kusi fale kala exactly be mun ne kala tamo
ma di mola ba ni men follow mayeta YouTube ya jube na visit to Accra nga menji je celbe men kala nyamo fengo fendinom and the good thing is biringa menje just point group of company nga menje celbe men ke ka nyamo la karola tuba bola karola nindol wala nyamo ka sotle comme ikatala ika bo nyotole nyamo men siri saku no kaytol kabol yebo nyoto barin tella jambu ka nyamol bo nyoto o hanin sa bo nyota ka kolya bakele tele fana na je fana ka nyamo men fanta ka process bu ka bo nyoto bari ye mécanisme de me ka foko maso be me ka nyamo ni bo nyotole nyamo ni tay ala bo ni me la ko ngo ma nyap foko ila nyamo ka process nyame scratch to end ika recycle abele betel bulo kono ika nyamo nyim bondi jele factory be bulo menka plastic dada factory be bulo men fana nyin dene ka funtol men ka ko nunto nyama be je hani sain banko nyama be men hani banko be ka yiri wacale mo fongo nyin manan kuno wala dene ko men korota ke process ke recycle mo manan kuno but science they already have a process for that and they have a market for it so abuko nyamo la karola men ka fay nsafo natra bijeto woto dantala ikel nyamo be ka be process le ika organic fertilizer fanan dale fanan ila on nyamo to solid waste fanan ka tare ka falling ika jonyi use le kamoto ko wala même fanan ka boje fanan niata fanan ya the solid liquid men ka bonne jio bondije e ko fan tale fanan ka fanan ke organic waste woto kel la karola fenne bu ka fay nin ko mo ntel la problème o nyen doctoro bala itelam tela doctoro ti ngam menji jeto na kurango sa jarno fa be bantak ite pentula ko ma
abarka another question. Yes, you've already asked a question. Honorable, can you answer his question in English? Because he can.
Yes, what I said is that the liquid waste or the sewage, managing the sewage is under NAWEC. Before it was a private sector, but now, as we are speaking, it's under NAWEC. But what is important is NEA is the regulatory body. Whatever affects the environment directly or indirectly is under their jurisdiction. So we cannot minus ourselves from that problem. We have to take the lead and accept that we must do something to mitigate the problem. And that is exactly what we are doing as a government. The president is very concerned about waste issue. That one I can say it loud and clear, and it has manifested. So he has given us the task that as soon as we can, it was even last year, but because of the complexity of getting the right partner, we have shifted it ourselves to this year. But the target was for last year. So we want to get somebody who can comprehensively manage matters of waste, both liquid and solid waste. And we already have this group from Ghana who came here. And we went there, we have seen what they're doing. They are doing exactly what we want to achieve as a country. So therefore, as far as we are concerned, we are highly optimistic that we've already gotten the solution. What is left is for us to agree on the terms and conditions. And they are ready to do a complete financing, and then now we look for ways of getting these monies recouped back. So they will do depending on what we agree as a country, because liquid waste management is under NAWEC. So we will have to bring NAWEC on board. But as far as solid is concerned, or the government is concerned, we want to get them to work on both solid and liquid waste. And I think, inshallah, very soon we'll get a solution for that.
Yes, next please. Okay.
Good evening to you all. My name is Ndeye Sise, and that's my sign name. I'm a deaf woman. Thank you very much, Minister of Information, for organizing this event. We're always happy. My question goes to Njaga, Mr. Toure. Thank you very much for the deliberation. So regarding the sensitizations you're making, is there any planned sensitization activity you want to have with the PWDs, that's persons with disabilities, including deaf people? Because we believe you're also doing a lot of sensitizations to inform people. We also are Gambians, and we also know some of the things happening in the country. So the other thing is, some of these climate change issues also have also been affecting us, especially visual impaired. Thank you.
Good question. Take one more question from that end, and then you'll answer. Any? Yes.
Yeah. Good evening. I am Abdullah Dabo from the University of the Gambia. My question is, I would like to commend the ministry for the installation of air quality monitoring devices, as stated earlier by the Honorable Minister. Now that this air quality tracking device is initiated, I want to ask if there are mechanisms put in place to help mitigate air pollution by improving air quality, most especially in urban centers, in urban settlements where people inevitably are vulnerable to poor air quality. Yeah.
Thank you. We'll go back to the minister and her team. Yes, Mr. Toure.
Thank you so much for that very important point raised. I'll be very honest to you. You're right. We have not been engaging the special need people when it comes to our activities, particularly on sensitization, and we have not even planned for it this year. But based on the importance, it has never come to our mind. But it's good that you raised it here, even though it is not part of our 2025 work plan. But we will try to fit it in before the end of 2025. We will engage the relevant authorities that are concerned to start rolling out sensitization and other kind of activities for the special needs people, particularly the deaf. Thank you.
The second question, please. Who's answering that? The second question.
Yeah, the second question on environmental quality mitigation. As I said, we've already installed these machines, and the machines are supposed to give us real-time data on the status of air quality, and this will guide policy direction in terms of what needs to be done to be able to mitigate. And one of the things that we have to do, we already know that the importation of second-hand vehicles into the country is one of the major, contributors to poor air quality in terms of emissions of carbon monoxide, nitrous oxide, and so many other dangerous pollutants into the atmosphere. And with this, there are plans to regulate the importation of second-hand, or let me say, old engines into the country with an age limit, so that
there are plans to regulate.
Yes.
What are those plans, please?
Well, to come up with a special bill, to come up with a regulation that will be passed at cabinet, and once it is approved, then it means we will have to start. Already, we did an assessment with the Gambia, with the police force who normally would register some of the vehicles that are coming into the country. We have a data already of that. So we are working on this regulation to come up with a specific regulation on the importation of used, not only cars, but engines in general. Yeah.
Is this part of your broad strategy to achieve your net zero emission by 2050?
Yes, it's part of the strategy. It's part of the strategy, because if you look at the country right now, the rate at which the Gambia is importing used cars is very alarming. Very, very alarming. If you go now to the ferry terminal, you will see a whole line of scrap vehicles entering the country. And then most of these vehicles have already gone past their capacity. They cannot function anymore. Even if they work here in the Gambia, not more than 1 or 2 years, they are parked. So you would see a lot of emissions, into the atmosphere, especially in the traffic from Westfield to Tabokoto.
So these devices, where are they strategically located that measure air quality?
We have them in different locations, mainly in major growth centers along the one around Westfield area, along the Mamadi Majang Highway, Bakau, Wellingara, different places, even in the provinces here. So we have them almost every major town in this country, and we have the plans also to even increase the numbers.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. From this end and then the other side. Anyone? Then we'll go over there. Yes. You have a question?
Honorable, I want Waka to talk on the waste, the liquid waste. Waka is doing some assessment and have some plans for it as well, if that is possible.
We can allow her to.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Honorable Minister and the team, and all the honorables present here. A quick one. Yes, last year we started an assessment done by Royal Haskani, a Dutch company, to study the sewage treatment and the water quality in the waste treatment plant in Kotu. So we validated the study beginning of this year, and the councils, NEA, all the relevant partners were there. And the findings were very, very important. We were focusing on the impact of this sewage treatment and the discharge, the effluent, on the Kotu stream, because our main focus for Waka project is the Kotu stream. And one of the findings, it really shows that there is high E. coli in the water that is being discharged, which is a very big concern because it can have public health implications. Not only that, but heavy metals, a lot of heavy metals. So that means those women that are doing agriculture around the stream and the affluent is being discharged in the Kotu stream, those vegetables might have bioaccumulation of heavy metals, which might also need further studies. So the problem here is that particular treatment plant was basically built for hotels in 1960s. In 1980s, only 12 hotels were connected to the sewage treatment. Then in 2016, we have 50 hotels. And then 2024, we have 55 hotels. So even the capacity of the hotels, it can't even serve that capacity. But not only that, now the general public around Greater Banjul, all the trucks are discharging there. And remember, it's a biological treatment center. It's not a mechanical, they're not using chemical. So the discharge, the sludge there doesn't have enough time for the bacteria to do their work. And it is
what will the Waka project change?
Actually, we came up with the assessment to understand the problem. And to inform you, just this week, we had a meeting with the World Bank because MECNA submitted a proposal on solid waste engaging World Bank. So they are looking into it. There's an interest. So we brought in this particular sewage treatment. And now the World Bank team, they will advocate and present it in different platforms to see whether they can attract funding so that we can work on it.
I saw something on the video. Is it possible to have a look at it? It looks very fascinating. If you can forward it to that. Is it possible to forward the video a bit? Mën nga ko forward na the new look, how it will look after the project. I think I saw that one there. I don't know. Huh? Yes, I want to see that one. The new look of the stream itself. The new design, huh? This is how it will look after the project. Exactly, or it's just... It's a vision. Okay. All right. Take 2 more questions, and then we'll end the program. Any questions? Yes. The young man at the back.
Good evening. My name is Musa Sonko from University of the Gambia, a 4th-year student. All right. Global warming is causing a rise in sea levels. So my question is, how is coastal erosion being managed, and what measures are in place to protect vulnerable coastal communities?
Good. Thank you. One more question. Yes, behind you, Mata.
Still related to my first question, which is about the poor air quality. We understand that air quality in the urban centers here is very poor, and it has been causing health complications. So the victims of this air quality vulnerability, what do you have for them? And how can you solve this problem? Because right now, if you can see, common cold is a major sickness, but it is also influenced by this poor air health. It's very common, not only through, smoke emissions, but also many other factors, toxic substances in the air. So I'm very concerned about this. To help us, please.
Thank you. We'll go on, Mr. Ture.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, on the first section on global warming, sea level rise, and coastal erosion. Well, you are right. I mean, as the temperatures increase, it means the glaciers would melt at the polar regions, and you have more water on our coastal areas. And when you have more water, it means you have more pressure on our coastal communities in terms of erosion, flooding, and so many other problems. And this has affected Gambia in our coastal areas. We have seen areas where erosion has almost taken an entire area. And one of them is the Banjul highway, where about 10 years back, it was almost taken over by the sea. But due to government's intervention, we were able to reclaim that land by some coastal engineering measures. And now, along the Senegambia belt, we have seen properties under threat as a result of erosion. And the same measures, we have implemented a project called the Coastal Resilience Project. This was around 2013, that has built some revetments along the Senegambia stretch to minimize the impact of the wave actions on the land, so that it can reduce, erosion. We are working on another project to continue the work to the other sides. It's a very expensive project, very expensive. Coastal protection measures are very, very expensive. And we require a lot of funds to be able to do this. And we are working very hard to work with partners so that we can secure funds to do more coastal protection measures. also not only physical one, but even nature-based actions. You can see along the beaches we have planted coconut trees. All over. This will create, stability, along the sand area, so that the wave actions will not easily carry the sand backwards. So these are things that we are doing, and every year we support communities to do, coconut or other kind of tree planting activities along the coastal area. So these are some of the measures that government is taking to make sure the impacts of erosion against local communities are minimized. On air quality, I think that question is a very tricky one. But what I can say is that I think government have already done something to compensate or maybe manage those who are affected by the air quality problems by the medical and health insurance scheme. I think this has really eased the burden of many people in the Gambia. They can easily access medical facilities, to seek medical attention. But air quality problems are not things that you can feel immediately. They take time before you can feel the problem. Most of us here, I can say, we already are victims of poor air quality. Okay, I myself, when I went to the hospital, I did a kind of a scan. The doctor told me that I've seen something in your lungs, but he told me, don't worry, this is very common in the Gambia. I've seen many people who have this because of the poor air quality problem. So so we just have to manage and then see how we can minimize our exposure. And air quality is not just outside. Even indoor air quality is more dangerous, that we are always not very particular. And that's this churai, the nephalatedas that we normally put in our houses. These are even the most dangerous indoor air quality pollutants that are really killing most Gambians, even more than the ones we have in traffic. So thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I have a question for the minister. Forestry is under your ministry, and we've seen recently that we've seen a lot of bushfires, charcoal burning, and also tree felling, and this has impacts for the environment. What is your ministry doing to really deal with this situation?
Thank you, Honorable Minister. As mentioned in my brief statement, the ministry considers forestry to be one of our key important departments to supporting our climate change actions. And that can only happen if we are able to allow nature to flourish alongside us living. I was talking to the new director, and he was telling me that what we are seeing in terms of legal logging and then this illegal bushfire, it looks like people think that the war is ending. So they're now rushing to clear the earth. But I'm like, even if the war is ending, you think the war, and you even believe that the war is ending, at least you need trees. So that because you don't know where you are, so that the tree would now even give you shade. So it's better that we allow the tree to also go, and then, but it's about implementing the law and enforcing the law. We have strong laws that should deter such kinds of behaviors. Attitudinal change is one thing, but some people you don't need to only tell them this is the law. They need to be punished. And this is exactly what we are doing now. We are doing serious crackdown on those that refuse to comply. And then we will do the advocacy and also awareness creation, talk to authorities. We had our tour a few weeks ago, engaging governors and some key players so that they can understand the dangers of bushfire. Bushfire is one of the most challenging problems that we have under this department. You plant trees, thousands, call them hundreds, and then just for one day, everything to be wiped out in zero. So if we are able to allow the forest or our bush to flourish in a natural way, in the long run, we might not even need to plant trees. But this is where we are having huge challenges. I don't know whether it is a taboo or it is a culture that people have to set the bush on fire at a specific time. We will have to talk to people, but again, we'll also have to implement the law. We have laws that tells us what to do when people set the bush on fire. If you cannot find anyone, there are leaders there. The law also extends us to follow up to all the way, but nobody should escape it. Somebody should be found wanting in terms of negligence. And then I'm happy that we have the EBA project who has supported us with the wildfire management plan strategy. And then this is a very good guide in supporting us to pave the policy way and also legal instrument in getting a very comprehensive strategy to managing specifically bushfires. And this we will implement. For the illegal logging, I don't know what will happen, but we are now not going to leave anyone hide. So it's a rigorous exercise. We will do our best. I know the warning shot has been done. We did our media coverage on the seizure, and I think people are now getting the sense that we are not a joke. And if you don't want to be caught, if you don't want to lose your vehicle, if you don't want to lose your investment, go out of the business and look for another more legal ways to earn livings.
Barka ba Honorable Minister na kachala bangom be nyinin karo lekela nyinin karo de lafta ye banko dingol ini kachabi ba bi mu nyin kumada bake ya foy millialon ko tole kadara ka mo la wulol jani kayirul boy puri fansun nafa lafta ya foy kibaju mal bi bulu pro mo sifal
baraka bake ni yiru boyo la karola anin dimbabo amukulti mel ka faka en sula bake kati fon fene men kana do ko nasinde ka murde koma nin komu nin fembe je woto nyina ma ajaw ma fangoti woto say nga jele ka fako luwal be mol bulo kon luwal men ka fako ni nga ta manda nyama ni mol ya ka nyama to mando nyanta ka nyin problème o nyin ka jaral lango nyine ngayle bara boko kar luwani enforce ko kenna boyda batinung bari sign nga dara to ko soto même mu lieutenant colonel Sali corps anala timul anin forest officer sol ya jele ka ko sign ko motije kata nyaato doron kan ko mol bi je men ka fo ya muta ka ko sign dunia ka ban comme biya ben brief ka ko kanyo ka te nyaaye menje molla tawnte ya ka yirol boyndi anin ka dun yiri wa fo ko anin kembo wa fo ko anin wulo jano aka ka muta ko mol ya muta ka fo dunia ka banne so bi nin dunia be ko ngata ngabe fufu ngabe ta ngabonni je bari ko hata dunia ka banne ni tamari misal fe hanni kilin faatale mambade la soto bari bela ren damane be sulala mebe fonyondi yefe kan ko be tadula lo woto ngaw yirol tuje ko saje hanni man fenke malo bi hadamane bari fonyo si mol fe sa ni nga yirol be tangi be boyndi ko dunia ka banne o be kala ni mantora balti andu ngajele sante nyin hanni nyin jiwo men ka manke al jiwo fanan ka dunna ko dal ko no jiwo men ka woyo abbe mo nyin jirin tangolti ni yirol tije to banko buka jiwo mutano ay me ni yirol tije fanan banko kengo fanan aka tare ya fulale wata kumata baka nyirol e bijele pour nga muna fangala bare bijele fana pour kaje ka foko ay na sama fana tankande ay na taramul fana tankande bare luwa mo mente wolon ka foko dol bije wol buka acca moy wol ka dukule moy so mel lafta ka dukku moy ni ba wala le say nga commencer le nga media tale ya ko jiyate si ko bale fanga fende mel ka fa yamala fi ye fola moto la iman la fi ye fola na fulola kata ka yiro sang wota tuje kan ni ngay muta ida e foyla mutola ma e foyla nafulola woto say ngambe nga fere doji be fere men ka fako wosike nya nafulu ngirin der ndal maka fasi loi as yirwa loi fanansi songala akumata baka bar nyi wula kono jano wo mukulde men ka fako mere mbalom dol bije yamta ka fako min malam fo ila rowañol le ka afoyeta loi ita wulo jande bam malon dol bije fodin ado lombang bara mu kukol yare mbalti bari be karaflol bele tala kadiyamu moliya pour yela miralol falling yela hakkilol falling ye son ka fuko nyimu kuli men ka fuko abukan samba nyaata barakan sayinde ko male kan masa kunda ko do bondi ka yiro fi ma projet ko do bondi ka yiro fi yiri wuli nangamo kana don wati kili moyna da dimba boyakan wo mutanya to sayin ko molti wata kumata baka ngaje ka banku do ko fo ngade te nyola lom nga son luwala luwaya tamanda nyama wote laftale ngaje ka fo nga moldi yamundi eniye yak jana ye dina bundal mol kumandile christian bunda ni muslim bunda ke diamu dim fana mabeta jele ngi kaccandi ka fuko foye mako e ngadiamu na mol kan mol men kay tel la moy tel la asiyata bake banku do ko alim be ngaje ka fuko nga nyo fasa nga mol kaccandi kaje ka fuko nga dimba bobula yiro men ka fuko a tontale ya bula andi tani slola fana abarak
jërëjëf honorable minister si gata rek bu gënañ nga waxtaan ak askan wi mbiri laka ala bi ak doggu yi ban yaaxu la am si jawaji waaye ak suñ dunda tamit
bala ma ñëw si sa wax bi ma jéggalu maa ngi gis permanent secretary senior government official yi fi nekka ngir dang ma yàkkante pour waxtu moo tax nuyoo ma lañ sax Permanent Secretary, Minister of Information and Deputy Permanent Secretary. Jërë ngeen jëpp ma ndokkale waat ma naataango ministre yi pour waxtu bi njël pour ñëw fi ak tamit of course ñu fi am tamit Deputy Secretary General of course ak also Deputy Chief of Staff parce que Deputy moom ma fi toogal Secretary General Aliou maa ngi laa nuyu bu wax di la ndokkale li nga wax noonu lu am solo la gis nañ ne ñun liñ gis suñu liggéey mooy suñ gàncax gi su demee ba naat wala mu dox ni mu war a doxee suñu liggéey si wàllu wécc jaww gi dina dem kanam lépp loo xam ne mu ñëw sonal lakka àll bi ak dog garab yi ci la gën a fees parce que nit ñi léegi daanaka amatuñ liggéey lu yomb lañ bëgga garab boo xam ne mu ngi fa fanweeri at jiwuloo ko sa maam jiwu ko moomuloo ko ñëpp a ko bokk nga ne xaaral ma dem dog ko parce que man dama bëgg a xaalis bu gaaw nga dog ko wala nga jël àll bi dem lakka këriñ jaay loolu yépp dafa nekk ne maanaam weddi luwaa rek moo koy waral parce que loolu luwaa mu ngi fa pour won nit ñi lan lañ war a jël si fekkee ne yaaxa àll bi mu ngi fa waaye nag ñun léegi dañ taxaw si njiitali colonel lieutenant corps pour taxaw jonn gis na daal moom lépp loo xam ne loolu la ñuy luwaa bi wax ñu jël ko jëfandikoo ko képp koo xam ne bëgguloo nga ñàkk sa moto ñàkk sa xaalis kon na nga topp luwaa bi bàyyi affaire yi bantay surtout banta yi nga xam ne dañ leen tong dégg la dama ko bëggalee te dinaa ko wax si soose tamit banta bi dañ ko soxla pour suñuy jëf-jëf ak suñuy dund parce que ñii ñi ngee sampa ñi nga def yeneen programmes waaye am na loi boo war a jàll nañ toppa loi bi pour ñu jël banta yi am na banta yoo xam ne boobu moom amul loi boobu moom dañ ko tong parce que dañ leen consider as endangered species yooyu noonu wax nañ ko fi def nañ fi press release both international ak local tamit yu doon dañoo ni tam am yoo xam ne dañ leen tong yooyu noonu amul kayit amul ñàkk a kayit kuñ ko gisee dañ koy nangu boobu warloo koo am parce que soo ko jëlee dafa mel ni kon yow moom da nga jéggi sartaluwaay bi waaye am na garab yoo xam ne yooyu noonu mun nga koo dog waaye dafa am sarta yoo war a romba si luwaa bi wala mun ngaa dem sa jënd ko si beneen réew sa isi ko comme maanaam mahogany nga ñëw isi ko waaye dafa am foo war a jaar nit ñi nag ñoom dañ bëgg a sot ko torop buñ jël shortcut bi dañ mekk ñu jël loi bi ànd ak loi bi nga am jàmma nit ñi tam am jàmma loolu lay wax honorable minister di wax ne pour nit ñi nañ bàyyi xel ne gis nga liggéey réew bul xool yow li nga xam ne rek mu la yóbbu kanam xoolal loo xam ne dina jëriñ askan bi yenee ax la banta bi comme que loi bi yow li nga xam ne yow loolu mooy sa business nga ne loolu rek nga jël pour dog ko rek pour jëfandikoo ko nañ ko moytu nit ñi di use excuse ne damaa sampa juma damaa sampa jaaka damaa sampa cooc loolu noonu du excuse bu ñoo jëlati parce que yàlla bëggul lu tilim doo sàcca xaalis dem sampee ko juma dafa mel ni rek nga dem jël drogue jaay ko ne da ngaa sampa juma yàlla soxlu ko kon lii tam dafa mel ni comme drogue parce que loo xam ne nguur gi soxlu ko loi bi daf ko bañ kon boo ko jëfandikoo yow yaa ki jël drogue yi ñëpp a em kon bu ci layee ne da ngaa sampa juma loolu noonu duñ ko jëlati.
jërëjëf honorable minister Rohey John Manjang ñun ñëpp a ko diggandoor ñëpp dañu war a taxaw gis ne ñu saama jaww ji sama suñ dund tamit teg si di la gërëm ak ñi nga xam ne ñoom nga àndal fii te si Mansa Kunda bi di gërëm ñëpp nag ñuy wax ne honorable minister of gender ki nga xam ne moom moo amee wàllu jigéen ñi ak xale moom tam mu ngi fi teew na fii te suma anti la maa ngi ko nuyu baax a baax di ko jaajëfal ak ministre fi teew fii yëpp ak ñi nga xam ne ñoom ñoo nekk government officials si di nuyu media bi di nuyu ñëpp nag faatuñ kenn képp koo xam ne yaa ngi ñoo seetaan fii ndax yaa ngi fii biir réew ndax yaa ngi bitim réew si Mansa Kunda bi tey di leen dox dig jaje ba beneen yoon ba di ngol mbaal tentula mbaal jeela honorable minister Rohey John Manjang abarka bake ening ela do ku ñol mi alon ko bi andra kana ma be Mansa Kunda jambi kaca ñi ñaata abetiata mo be tentula mo be jeela ka foko minister of gender abijam bi honorable Fatou Kinte mbe tentula mbe jeela Mansa Kunda ani minister mi alon ko le fanam bijam bi ani sino government official so mil ben jube kan ka bo sokono fo be Gambia fo be diaspora mbal tentula mbal jela na media pana so fana be tentula be jela momo ben jube kan mbal tentula mbal jela fo wati ko tek manon ko next week maybe be Mansa Kunda do soro ko tenke. That's it for tonight's Mansa Kunda. Honorable Minister of Environment, Climate Change and Natural Resources, you and your entire team, thank you very much for gracing this occasion. We thank the other ministers who are present here today. We just also have the Minister of Gender who also joined us not long ago. Thank you very much for coming, and the other ministers, senior government officials, the media, and all those watching from home and abroad. Thank you very much. Until we come your way again, the next Mansa Kunda, maybe in 2 weeks' time, we'll have another minister. to come and face Gambians to discuss issues in that sector. Thank you very much.